All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So glad everybody that's here live. Thank you. I honor you for taking the time out of your busy schedule because I know each of you and I know how busy your schedules are. And this is such a great way of really connecting with your self-care, really taking the time to be present, to be here, to listen to all this great information. And I'm excited because tonight Dr. Ravi is teaching this class, so I am going to hand it over to him. Um, oh,
Okay, guys. So
sorry,
this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen. Watch me. I'm the technological whiz. This is incredible. I am so excited. Hey, it worked. Whoops, didn't work. Let me go. That's because I don't know how to push the right button to take me to the beginning. Okay, can everybody see me? Give me a thumbs up. I got one thumb. That's it. Okay. All right, Ashley. Good. Okay. Here we're going to review supplements. You will see some supplements on here that may be something that we've recommended you use based on your blood work and what's going on in your program. I do everything I can to make sure that the recommendations are scientifically based. So just keep that in mind. If you see supplements on here that's on your list, this may give you a brief.
that's from the beginning, so it got be big. Oh, okay, I didn't do that. Okay.
So if you see something on here that you're taking, it may give you a description of what's the topic for, what's it for. When you look at the list of supplements, it'll say the name of the supplement on the sheet that you get, right? And down there's a little box at the bottom of each one of them that says notes. And I typically I'll write in there, this supports healthy thyroid function, supports healthy liver, supports healthy LDL levels. I'll put a little description on that so that you can see it. So if you want to go back and look at your sheet after we're done, you'll see that. So there's a description there. So functional blood testing. We do functional blood testing. Our panel is, everybody on here has been through it, except Ashley hasn't seen it yet. I'll go over with her. But we do this huge panel that we do because I want to know all the organ systems and how are they working. And then it tells us also if they're working together properly. So it's really important. We identify early risk factors. When things start to go in the wrong direction, we want to catch it early. And that's why we use the green, yellow, and the red on the blood lab. So we can see, is this just the beginning? Is it normal? Just the beginning to go bad? Or is it bad enough where the medical models decided you need meds? Okay, so it's really important. We want to identify nutritional deficiencies and excesses if possible as well. These are the products, a couple of the products that we use for sugar. Blood sugar control is really important because if the blood sugar control is not, if your blood sugar is not under control, then we have a tendency to go into an inflammatory state. And an inflammatory state is what's really bad for us. We don't want that.
Excuse me for one sec, honey. It's not on my screen. It's not changing.
Can
Is
you
it?
guys see anything?
No,
How about that? You see that?
no.
Okay, let's start over. Can everybody see Lori? Can you guys see me too? Okay, so I'm going to go back to share, Lori. There's share. Click on that. Click on share. There. Does everybody see that?
Yes,
How about this?
yes.
Is it
Now,
changing?
okay. Now we
Okay.
can see it.
All right.
Okay,
This
thank
is what
you.
I was talking about, blood testing. Here we go. The benefits of functional blood chemistries and metabolic testing. It gives us an idea of what's happening in the body from a standpoint of your organ systems and are they communicating back and forth? Okay. How are they? Are your hormones balanced? What's happening? Do you have an autoimmune disorder? What's going on in the body? That's why we run the extensive testing that we do. We're also looking at possibilities of finding there's some nutritional deficiencies or excesses. A lot of people have excesses, okay? So these are the three I typically use for blood sugar. There are others that I'll use too. So if you see these and you're on yours because you're dealing with blood sugar, Glucoresolve is the most popular one. I think I get the best bang for my buck with people regards to recovering their blood sugar. Berberine is a dual purpose product. It's great for blood sugar control, but it's also super healthy for your heart. So sometimes if people are having issues, maybe they got a cardiologist and they've seen him for a number of years, I might put them on berberine to make sure that their heart is healthy as possible. Okay. If somebody doesn't have any heart issues, but they've got sugar problems, I may add the berberine to the Glucoresolve. So they work in combination. These are great products. I use them myself. I use the Glucoresolve myself. Typically what we see too, research shows is as we get older, even if we're healthy and following a healthy lifestyle, as we get a little older, your blood sugar control kind of slides on its own. So your A1C is not unusual for somebody my age, pushing 70. I just turned 60 more years, but somebody who's in their late 60s, your A1C is going to be a little higher, and that's going to be a norm for you. It's not unusual, is what I'm saying. So just keep that in mind when we talk about blood sugar. We want to do everything we can to keep it under control. But as we get to be my age or older, there's a good chance that your A1C is going to be a little higher, and that's normal. Okay. Hypochlorhydria, everybody's heard me talk about this. This is low stomach acid. So if we develop hypochlorhydria, naturally, we're not producing enough stomach acid. The acid in your stomach comes from very specific cells in the lining of your stomach called parietal cells. The medical model has figured out what drug they can give you to shut them off. So here's an example. Somebody comes in to see us and we're talking and we're going through the process and they want to work with us. And one of the things they're dealing with is heartburn, reflux, GERD. And they've taken omeprazole for 5 years. Those things are supposed to be short-term use. A lot of the medical products that the doctors give you are for short-term use, or they were developed and designed for something else. But they got to get their volume up, so they figure out what else they can give it to you for. In this case, your cells aren't producing enough acid. So this is how it works. If you have heartburn, reflux, or GERD, the medical model thinks that you have too much stomach acid, so they give you something to shut down stomach acid production. The problem with that theory is now I don't have enough stomach acid to break down my foods properly. And because I don't break down my foods properly, that undigested food will transition into my duodenum, the very first part of my intestines, and it'll drive leaky gut syndrome because the foods are not broken down into small components, so they irritate the lining. Add a little stress to that. Add a few other things that we're all dealing with in life on a general basis. Now my leaky gut has gotten even worse. The medical model wants to shut down the stomach acid. In functional medicine, we have the opposite approach. We believe that GERD, heartburn, and reflux is due to not enough stomach acid. So your body is super intelligent. When your stomach breaks down the foods to the right level, they'll transition out of the gut and into the intestines. Okay? So if we don't have enough stomach acid, it takes longer for it to finally transition away. That's where the reflux is coming from. So what we do is we use hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes to get complete breakdown of my foods so they transition in a timely manner. Now I don't have anything to reflux. Everybody get it? Marcy, you got that look on your face. Did you get it? It's kind of a twisted concept, but it's just the basic. We do the opposite of what they're doing over there. Okay? If they tell you COVID is a deadly, deadly disease, and we know that it's a 99.19% chance of survival, we're doing the opposite. Okay? So that's an example of low stomach acid, hypochlorhydria. I can't digest my food. I'm going to have malabsorption, leaky gut. It's going to lead to a bunch of things. Adrenal issues. Your adrenal glands are little tiny glands. They're about the size of an almond. They sit on top of your kidneys, and they have a number of functions. They produce a bunch of hormones, but the number one thing that we see is people that have stress in their life, their adrenal glands get driven crazy. They work really hard. I'm producing all this cortisol because my adrenal glands are going crazy, and that has a huge negative impact on us. If you have thyroid issues and your medical doctor never talked to you or did any evaluation or testing on your adrenal glands, he's missing the boat, because elevated cortisol can block your T4 to T3 conversion. That's your hormones from your thyroid. If he doesn't assess your adrenal glands, that might be causing the thyroid problem. So we have to look at all the different factors, not just, well, your TSH is high, your T4 is off, here's your Synthroid, here's your levothyroxine. You understand? So these products here really help your adrenal glands get back to being a healthy place where they can function normally. So when you go through detox, we remove caffeine and alcohol because they drive the liver and they drive your adrenal glands. We want them to go on vacation. We're giving them an Airbnb. We're going to go hang out for a month. Okay. These are the two products. One is for too high, and one is for too low cortisol. I put this in here because we do see people that have diminished kidney function. Your GFR is your filtration rate of your kidneys. There's a lot of things that can affect it, and that's not taken into consideration. They just say, oh my goodness, you're not at over 90%. So all of a sudden they're telling you got stage 1, stage 2 kidney disease. Well, the stages are so high. If you have a 10% loss of kidney function, they're acting like you're going to need dialysis. This tea works really, really well with helping the kidneys, bringing them back to normal functionality. We've used this tea and a number of other supplements, and people have regained anywhere from 10 to 20 points on their GFR. So if you're at 30 or 40, you could get up into the 50s and 60s. It's a great product. Proteins, proteins, proteins. It's all about proteins. The number one thing you have to survive. Proteins, proteins, proteins. These are off the Fullscripts. When I did this list in Fullscripts, I made a list of, I believe it's like 10. I tried to find the cleanest things I could, just knowing that it's really hard to find something that's absolutely perfect. So these are as close as you can get. And you'll notice what they are is they're different. You'll see that there's a grass-fed protein, right? You'll see that there's a whey protein. There's a bone broth, pea proteins. So go through the list and find one. You got to find what works for you. So here's an example. I was using a protein and I ran out. And I was like, man, I had a hard workout. I need a protein shake. So I took Lori's. Lori was using this Biotics Research whey protein because it doesn't give her intestinal flare-up. So I'm like, wow, let me try that. I took a shake of her protein. Even though the one I was using was whey, I switched to hers for that one shake and it made me sick. And I don't mean like I was throwing up, going to the hospital, but I got intestinal dysfunction. I had loose stool right away. So they're not all the same. You got to find what works for you. And when we say whey, people go, oh, that's dairy. You're not being consistent. Well, yes, I am. This is how it works. When they process dairy into whey protein, because of the process that they go through, it's no longer carrying the same negative impact on our body as a glass of milk. So don't equate them as the same. That's cheating. All right. Oh, and back to proteins. For the women on here, if you've been told by your doctor you have low bone density and blah, 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 and they scare the crap out of everybody, you get scared. Oh, I've got osteoporosis, right? All that. Bone density loss in women is due to low protein intake over time. So rather than do Fosamax and all that stuff, and I don't recommend calcium to anybody because it doesn't get absorbed properly, and it ends up being deposited in the walls of your arteries. We don't want that. Calcium in the walls of the arteries is called arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. Then I can't expand. Now I got high blood pressure. No calcium, okay? Unless it comes out of your food. Protein and bone density are equated in women. You've got to keep your protein levels up if you want your bone density to stay normal. Liver function. We see a lot of this. This LiverTrite product is really incredible. It's pretty powerful, and I have had people take it, and when they took it, they were able to continue, but they could just tell that it was a pretty harsh product because it works on your liver, but it does an amazing job. I've had people with really high liver enzymes take this product and they came back into normal because it supports all of the functionality of your liver. So it's a great product for liver. The L-carnitine, I use this to burn fat, okay? It facilitates the transportation of fatty acids across the mitochondrial membranes and all that stuff, but it does a number of things. If somebody has elevated triglycerides, I use L-carnitine powder twice a day because it'll help to burn body fat, but it'll also lower your triglyceride level. Okay? So the key to triglycerides are they're not bad for us if they're in the reasonable range. Okay? It's really important. I'm going to give you a formula as we go through this and talks about triglycerides. Triglyceride, if you can regulate your triglycerides on your blood panel, you can have a much greater impact on reducing cardiovascular events and strokes than your cholesterol. I'm going to show you a formula that's going to blow your mind, okay? But L-carnitine is great for fat metabolism. So I'll use it in a number of ways. Gallbladder. So some of you guys are using Beta Plus, okay? In this case, I'm using it for a different reason. Beta Plus is straight bile, ox bile, okay? If you've had your gallbladder removed and the doctor didn't tell you before he got his big fat paycheck for that surgery that you should be taking a bile supplement every single day, he should lose his license. They took out an organ. What if I took out one of your lungs? They're taking an organ out that's really important. And so they're not replacing it. Your gallbladder produces bile. Bile is necessary for fat metabolism, but it's also important for a couple of other things. When we manufacture hormones in our body, they get distributed. When the cells use the hormones, there's always leftovers. Those are called hormone metabolites. They're toxic. So what happens is your body's smart. Your body goes, well, I know. Let's grab a hold of these metabolites. Let's take it back to the liver and dump it off at the liver and let the liver deal with it. It gets rid of everything. Okay, that's great. But when those metabolites get to the liver, there's only one thing that your liver will use to get them out of the body, get rid of the toxins. It's called bile. And if you don't have a gallbladder, you can't get rid of these toxic hormone metabolites. They get stored in your fat. We don't want that. So if you don't have a gallbladder, you should be taking a bile supplement every single day. It's finding the right dose for you. It's all about loose stool. And I know it's kind of weird, right? But if you have too much bile, your stool will get really loose. Then you just cut back a little bit. There's one other area that bile plays a really important role, and I'm going to explain it to you because I'm just going to explain it to you. I can't help myself. Everybody see my hand? Okay. This is a carrier molecule for LDLs. These are receptor sites. Each one of these can grab one LDL. As it's floating through the bloodstream, grabs an LDL, grabs an LDL, grabs an LDL. When all of my fingers are loaded, the carrier molecule says, let's go to the liver and dump it. Let the liver deal with it. So I go to the liver and I drop it off. I go back and I go through the bloodstream. I grab 5 more. Go to the liver, drop it off, back to the bloodstream. When that's the normal physiological mechanism, my LDL levels are normal. They'll be down in the normal range. In my body, when I have metabolic dysfunction, which everybody here has because I've seen everybody's labs, I create what's called metabolic gunk. The best analogy is after you've taken a number of showers, eventually the drain will clog with soap and hair. Got to clean it out. So that's what happens. When in metabolic dysfunction, I create all this metabolic gunk that my body can't get rid of. These receptor sites, they get clogged with metabolic gunk. So now they don't work. I've only got one receptor site that works, just one. So I flow through the bloodstream. I grab one LDL. The carrier molecule says, we're full. I go to the liver, drop it off one at a time. My LDL number is going to go up because I can't get rid of them fast enough. These are covered with metabolic gunk. There's one substance in your body, only one, that'll clean them off so they work normally. That's bile. So if you don't have a gallbladder, you're going to have problems. If your LDLs are really elevated because of this, I'm going to provide you with Beta Plus. You're going to take it twice a day, 2 tablets twice a day on an empty stomach. That's going to clean off the receptor sites. So now I'm back to normal functionality. My LDLs come down normally. It's such a great thing. It's so amazing. The body's fantastic. I love it. This is awesome. Okay. The beta TPC is if you have your gallbladder and your numbers are elevated and it appears that it's just not working properly, the beta TPC has a bunch of products in there in combination that help the gallbladder do a better job so that it can get back to normal functionality. So that's the difference between the two. Anemia, here we go. Anemia, that means I have low hemoglobin production. Hemoglobin production many times, for the majority of times, is associated with iron. Hemoglobin. The iron that you get from red meat is called heme iron. It's the easiestly absorbable iron on planet Earth. That's why we have people eating animal-based proteins. Okay? So, the iron that comes from vegetables is called non-heme iron. Non, N-O-N. It's almost impossible to absorb by the humans. It's as close to impossible as you can get. And this is why vegans and vegetarians are anemic, because they have low iron intake. They don't eat red meat. They're not getting all the nutrients necessary. And iron is one of them. Iron comes from red meat. Now, Dr. Rappy, what if I have a supplement like this? Well, guess what? In this case, Hemovite and Hemovite Plus, they have digestive enzyme and hydrochloric acid in the product. The reason is because iron is bound by a carrier molecule. This is why the medical model fails when I see patients go, oh, my doctor gave me iron. And you know, my first response is, I bet you're constipated and your poop is black. And they always go, how'd you know that? Because when you take iron with low stomach acid, it doesn't get pulled away from the carrier molecule and absorbed. It ends up in your intestines and you become constipated and you have black stool. So you have to have proper stomach acid. So this company, Apex Energetics, was smart enough to put hydrochloric acid in their iron products so that they know you can pull it away from the carrier molecule. FEzyme, the Biotics Research, is a great product, but it doesn't. So if you're taking digestive enzymes like hydrozyme, those kind of things, FEzyme is iron, hydrozyme is digestive enzyme. If you're taking hydrozyme, you can use the FEzyme by itself. I like the other products because they're a combination, but these are all associated with anemia. What is anemia? That means I can't get oxygen from my lungs to my tissues. If your muscles don't get oxygen, they don't work. When your heart loses oxygen, it's called a heart attack. Okay. So it's really important that we have normal hemoglobin so I can get all the oxygen I need from my lungs to my tissues. Your metabolic systems don't work if they don't have enough oxygen. It's really important. And if anybody on here knows somebody that's a vegan, I hope you're not offended. I just want you to know the research shows all of this. I'll give you another little tidbit. Dr. Beichman is the lead researcher at BYU University. He's got a huge lab there. He's got amazing videos if you want to look him up online, Beichman. He makes everything really simple. It's one of my favorites. But he's putting out a number of videos recently that talks about the research that's been done over the last few years shows the largest population base on planet Earth with mental illness is vegans and vegetarians. And it's because they're not getting the nutrition necessary for normal, healthy brain function. So it's important. Methylation. Oh my goodness. Methylation. Let me see if I got a picture. Here you go. Everybody has probably seen this. Can you see that? Kind of, sort of. It's a big gobbledygook of stuff. That's methylation. It's really complicated and it takes place in your liver. Some people have a gene defect, so they don't methylate. So in that case, we use the product that says 5-MTHF. When you have the gene defect, that's the MTHFR gene defect. You can't methylate properly, so you take the 5-MTHF product. If you can methylate, we typically will use methylfolate, B12, methylcobalamin, B12, methylfolate plus. These are called methyl donors. And this system runs on methyl donors. So if any one of the lines don't complete its task, it's in dysfunction. Methyl donors will help get it back into function. The latest research shows in methylation, particularly if we can correct the methylation system, it's dysfunctional in women so that it works normally, you can extend their life expectancy by 5 years. So for me, 5 years is a lot because I still don't have grandkids yet. But for somebody that's maybe in their early 30s with 4 or 5 kids, they're like, I just want to get the kids out of the house. I'm not worried about 4 more years. I'll worry about that when I get there. But for us, we're there. So it's really important to make sure the methylation system is working properly and it takes place in the liver. Autoimmune, we do have a few people with autoimmune. I think we've had about 12 people go into remission in the last 9 months. Lori and I both have autoimmunes. Mine is called Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid autoimmune. Lori has Crohn's, which is an intestinal autoimmune. Both of us are in remission. Why? Because we did exactly what we're teaching you. And that's how these other people have gone into remission doing our program. They follow a very specific program for autoimmune. This is important. All autoimmune conditions have the exact same mechanism. All of them. I don't care whether it's MS, arthritis, thyroid like me, Hashimoto's, Graves, all of them have the same exact mechanism. Okay? And our autoimmune protocol puts people in remission. This product here called UltraVirex, it helps to modulate your immune system, which means it helps to calm down your immune system so your antibodies aren't crazy. It calms them down so you can go into remission. It's a great product. Immune support. Well, we're in summer, so it's not as important as it is if it was January, February, March, but we want our immune system to be strong all the time. Zinc-zyme is important for a number of reasons. We use zinc. Zinc has multiple functions. I sometimes will use it as a chelation agent. Chelation agent. What that means is if you have an elevated ferritin, let's say your ferritin is high. 2 ways to bring ferritin down. Ferritin is iron storage, and if it's too high, too long, it'll cause damage to your organ systems. Step 1 is if you take a high dosage of zinc It acts as a chelation agent, so it'll clear the ferritin out of your system. However, there's a dichotomy here. If I take a lot of zinc, I'm going to deplete over time my copper, so I have to add a little copper to that. The easiest way to bring down a ferritin, elevated ferritin, is give blood. Go to Livestream and say, I want to save someone's life. Can you take some of my blood? When you do that, it'll come down real fast. Zinc is also an immune stimulator. During COVID, 85% of the people that died from COVID were D deficient. Had they applied 10,000 units of vitamin D every day, 100 milligrams of zinc, added some quercetin, they'd be alive today. D stimulates your immune system, supercharges your immune system. Zinc does the same. Zinc is a zinc ionophore. Quercetin is the zinc ionophore. That means it forces excess zinc into the cell. When zinc enters the cell, it stops viral replication. So instead of this thing going on for a couple of weeks, it'd be over in a very short period of time. So zinc is a great product. Vitamin D is important. 3 main areas I like to talk about: brain function, bone density, and your immune system. So I already mentioned the immune system. Vitamin D is also a great anti-inflammatory, but you've got to take it. Nobody's going to be out in the sun long enough to get their D elevated because the dermatologist will cut you into little pieces. They'll find something to cut off. So the key to being in the sun is don't be out long enough to burn. 10, 15 minutes, 7:30 in the morning is fabulous. Okay? So D is super important for brain function and bone density. Vitamin C is I call it the great accentuator. If you're taking NAC and you don't add vitamin C to it, you're not getting the bang for your buck. Vitamin C also is an immune stimulator. Last product there is Bioimmuzyme. It's got a bunch of great products in combination. We use that as well. Okay, great, all of these. This vitamin D, and the reason why I use this one in particular is because it has a lot of IUs per drop. It's 2,000 per drop. Typically, I'll have people take 5,000 units or 5,000 units. They'll take 4 or 5 drops. They take 4 drops, it'll be 8,000. Take 3 drops, you're at 6. So they'll do something like that. But we have to take a large amount to get our number up where we want it. Once we get our numbers up, I like to be around 100. Then you go to a maintenance dose. Maybe you'll take 2 drops every other day and things like that. But right now, I usually have people taking a larger amount. I like this product because of the way it was manufactured. It has the greatest absorption rate. It's a great product for an incredibly good price. So we really use this one. I've been using it for years. Women vitality. Here we go, ladies. Okay. So this Prostagen Pure over here. Progesterone is one of, let me see if I got another little. So, okay. Maybe you can see this, maybe you can't. Anybody see that? Kind of? Not really? So this is just a flow chart that's for hormones. Cholesterol's up here, estrogen and testosterone down here. That's why I talk about cholesterol is important for hormone production. We'll get to that coming up. Here's your progesterone right here. If I have high cortisol because I have a lot of stress, I may take progesterone and break it down and convert it into cortisol. I'm going to have low progesterone. Okay? So this product is over the counter. It's called Progesterone Pure. It's real progesterone. You'll rub it on based on what your numbers are once a day or twice a day on different locations of the skin. It'll naturally bring up your normal progesterone. DHEA is also a precursor for estrogen and testosterone. It's naturally produced in your body. So if it's low, I don't have enough to make my estrogens and my testosterone. DHEA. Pregnenolone is between DHEA and progesterone. Okay. GHS stands for glutathione. This is a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione is a really important product. It's an anti-aging product and whatnot. And so we use this with individuals. If they ask me, hey, do you think I should be taking this? I'll say, you know what? It's a great product. I would take it. So in this case, I have it up here. There are people that are already taking some form of glutathione. In this case, it's a natural product that's put together to stimulate your natural glutathione production. For the men, Be Vital, this product here, this will stimulate the cells of your testes to produce more hormone, testosterone. The cells in your testes, okay? Leydig cells produce testosterone. Now, DHEA again is upstream. It'll help us to produce more testosterone, but I don't give it to people if theirs is low. If it's not low, I don't want to give it to you. This Ferdrosia, Agresta, and the Turkestone. These products, I got these recommended by Dr. Huberman. You'll see his name coming up shortly. He's a head researcher up at Stanford. These are the two products that he did all this research and said these are the products that he feels were the best. Turkestan is going to increase testosterone production, and the Ferdrogia is also going to have an impact on your sex drive as well. Great products for men. If you're in the gym working out, or if you're at home doing your workouts at home like I do, take them. I take both of them. I notice a difference if I take a week or two off. So it does have an impact. Cholesterol, I just mentioned it. So here's an example. These products are all great products. I use all of them. Beta Plus you've seen before. It's under cholesterol because remember, it cleans off the receptor sites for LDL, so it'll help lower your LDLs. Berberine is heart healthy. It also helps with sugar metabolism, which reduces inflammation. CoQ10 is an amazing product for heart health. Okay? And that red yeast rice over there is just a natural statin. I do use it with people, but I like to do a calculation about risk factor. A calculation for risk factor is very straightforward. You take triglycerides divided by HDLs, and your goal is to be below 2.0. Doc, you got a question? No? I saw your hand go up. You good? Janet? You good? Okay. So triglycerides divided by HDLs give you your cardiovascular, strokes, and heart attack risk factor. You want to be below 2.0. What's missing in the formula? Cholesterol. It's not even in the formula. This is Harvard and UCLA came up with this. If your number of triglycerides divided by HDLs is below 2, you are not having a heart attack or a stroke, unless your inflammation marker is through the roof, because inflammation is the real cause of heart attacks and strokes, not cholesterol. The formula I gave you doesn't have cholesterol in there. I had a lady in here the other day. Her cholesterol was 328. But her formula that I just gave you was at 1.1. So she's under 2. At 328, she's not having a heart attack. Her inflammation marker was half of what it should be, like super low. And her doctor is just hammering her about getting on a statin. Cholesterol's not the factor. The other two are. So triglycerides are much more important. In this case, I do use red yeast rice with people that have cholesterol. If they show concerns, my parents and so on and so forth had heart attacks and strokes, blah, blah, blah. And their calculated number is above 2. I'll say, okay. If it's below 2, I'm like, why? You don't need to take it. So there's a little calculation in there. Inflammation is the driver of heart attacks and strokes. Here's an example. I'm going to pull an artery out of my heart. There it is. Here's the tube right here. Blood's flowing right through here. See that? When I have inflammation, this opening doesn't expand. It decreases in size. it closes the opening. The walls get inflamed and it closes the inside. It's called the lumen. Harvard, UCLA found that the vast majority of Americans who have heart attacks and strokes have normal cholesterol. Inflammation is the #1 marker. Remember, arteries collapse or constrict when they're inflamed. That's why that inflammation number is so important. These are all amazing products. Turmeric or Tumeroactive is it's turmeric based. It's got a bunch of good stuff in there, like some black pepper. It tastes like an orange Julius. People really enjoy it. I could drink the whole bottle. Don't do that. The bad. But it's an amazing product. It tastes good and it does work. And it's liquid form. Just don't get it on anything because it'll stain. Okay. Caparest was developed by Biotics Research. What they found was there is a protein called the NF-kappa B. When it gets stimulated and activated, it sets in motion all these chemical responses and processes that end up in inflammation. So kappa arrest stops the NF-kappa B enzyme from activating. Amazing product as well. Curcumin, that's the whole thing that's in turmeric. Those are the golden nuggets in there. Curcumin. Curcuminoids are in there. So they've taken it out and put it in one product by itself. Intenzyme Forte is an interesting product. It's a proteolytic enzyme. I use it for post-injury. So let's say I'm working out and I strained my shoulder. I immediately start taking Intenzyme Forte. I have a dosage I take initially, and then I'll ramp it down to a dose. I'll take it for maybe a week or two. I get healed. I'm good. Proteolytic enzyme. It eats up all the bad stuff associated with injury and repair. Great product. Nobody has sleep issues. Everybody does. These two slides have different sleep. These are the ones that I've used many times. The Neural 5 HTP is amazing. I use a different form of melatonin, but melatonin is a great product. In this case, they use a little B6 and magnesium. Magnesium is a natural muscle relaxant. Magnesium glycinate is one that you can take at night that really helps with sleep. Alpha Theta Ultra is going to have GABA in it, and it's going to have a few of the other things. It might have some of the other products in there. So they're great products for sleep. You can use them in combination. There was a study that came out on melatonin, and their study was done because they were working with all of these post-cancer survivors. They were having a hard time sleep and recovery. They couldn't get into a deep sleep because of the chemo and the radiation. It threw off their sleep cycle or their internal clock, so to speak. So the research that was done, they're like, how can we help these people? And what they did is they took melatonin and they used it as a sleep aid to get them into a deeper sleep. They got up and they found that 20 milligrams, which is a lot, but 20 milligrams, these people got the most amazing deep REM sleep. But they found that by doing this and getting their sleep cycle back on track, they extended their life expectancy by 50%. Just by getting them better sleep. That's how important sleep is. So these are a couple of sleep aids that also help. These are as well. I got these from Huberman. If you looked them up individually, you see L-theanate, L-theanine. These are super great products for brain function. They're amazing. This Epigenian, I use that as well. But these are from Huberman up at Stanford. Great products. They work. You just got to find which combination works best for you. Whoops, I got the slide twice. Sorry. Brain health. I could use that sometimes. I do have part-timers occasionally. It happens. Some people say, did you bump your head? And I said, no, I just forgot something. I'll remember. So these are really great. Phosphatidylserine. This cognitive enhancer has phosphatidylserine in it. It's got choline in it. It's got some great products in there. Brain E, DHA. These two products, Bioomega DHA, these two products, the DHA is the better of the two fatty acids your brain needs to function, EPA and DHA. DHA has a greater impact. You need them both, but in this case, you'll see that in if you look at the bottle of omega-3s, let's say you have a bottle of omega-3s in your cupboard, take it out, look at it. You might see at the bottom in fine print, they'll tell you how much DHA and how much EPA are in there. You want as much as you can get. Okay? It's important. Phosphatidylserine. The research on this is pretty incredible. They're indicating that if you take, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but in this particular case, if you take one of these capsules 3 times a day, it's going to increase your brain function almost 30%. It's a huge, huge cognitive enhancer by itself, phosphatidylserine. The other one would be called phosphatidylcholine. But in this case, I just put this one up because the research backed this one up. The choline is phosphatidyl, means it's lipid form. Phospholipids, lipid form. Great, great products. I take the serine twice a day because I need brain enhancement. Super Aloe. This is our number one product for constipation. Constipation happens to a lot of people for different reasons. If you don't drink enough water, you're not going to have enough moisture in your material. It's not going to slide through the tube very easy. So you got to make sure your water intake's up. But if you have issues with your bile, there's bile again, bile, your liver function and whatnot, you may become constipated. This will help. I'd much prefer someone use a natural product like this than Metamucil and Miralax and all that other crap. Psyllium husk. It just irritates the lining of your gut. And if you're on the road to leaky gut, why would you do that? This product is the product to use. So let me talk about constipation a bit. We all poop, so it's no big deal. Here's how it works. Think of it in these terms. When you're doing your detox with us, you're doing really high volume of vegetables. We're doing this for a reason. In these vegetables, there's lots of fiber. Okay? When I eat high volumes of veggies, I break them down and when they get into my intestines, only about 20% of it's absorbed into your body and utilized. 80% of it ends up in your intestines. So when I'm doing a large volume of veggies, I'm going to have large bowel movements with lots of material. When you have high protein and low veggie, 90% of the protein gets absorbed into the body and utilized. Only 10% of it shows up in my intestines. So now there's very little material. I might not poop every day. That's when people go, hey, I think I'm constipated. Well, we have a pretty good idea where you are nutritionally. We'll ask a few questions. Usually it's I'm not constipated. The volume that's going into my intestines is diminished because I've gone from veggies to protein. Most people experience it. If I don't explain it to you, everybody will be calling or sending Lori text. I can't poop. I can't poop. And we go, oh, okay, we'll fix that. So this is a great product. Thyroid people, I'm on the list. Thyroid, these are great as well. The GTA are what are called glandulars. Glandulars. That means that they're made out of actual tissue, thyroid tissue. It's either going to be, it's most likely it's porcine, it's closest to us. Those are glandulars. They are clients of ours over time have transitioned off of their thyroid medication onto a GTA or a GTA Forte because they have the exact same mechanism. They're just a natural product. Takes a little effort to get there, but if you're willing to do the work, you can do it. Medistim is fascinating because sometimes it's not that my thyroid doesn't work, it's because I'm not able to convert T4 into T3 like I should. It's called underconversion. Medistim will stimulate your thyroid to make more T4 and then convert more of it into T3. Thyrostim has a funny name. Everybody thinks, oh, it's going to stimulate my thyroid. No. Thyrostim stimulates your pituitary gland. Let's get back to work. Do your job. So if, as I've gone through your labs, if I can identify that it's not your thyroid, it's your pituitary because the feedback loop is messed up, I'll give you thyroid stim to make your pituitary work. But remember, your pituitary tells your thyroid what to do. Your cells in your body are sending signals to the pituitary all the time. Are we happy? Do we got enough hormone? If we don't have enough hormone, they keep saying that to your pituitary, it'll increase the TSH in your bloodstream to make your thyroid work harder to make more hormone. It's a simple loop. Sometimes the loop gets screwed up. Kind of like my part-timer. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, okay, we'll fix it. Prostate, ladies, you don't have to worry about this, but if you're a man, if you have a man in your life, a brother, a cousin, a coworker, a neighbor, somebody that you know that has prostate issues, many times prostate health can be helped by using certain supplements. Prostate DHT, that's in the title. What does it do? It blocks DHT production. DHT is bad testosterone. Dihydrotestosterone is bad. It'll cause prostate dysfunction and it can cause male pattern baldness. Great product. Astrovite. I've used this with men and women. Sometimes men become dysfunctional and their testosterone gets converted into estrogen. That's called aromatization. And when a man has too much estrogen over long periods of time, he starts to develop boobs. You're going to need a man's ear for Christmas. They get them at Victor's Secrets. That's right next door to Victoria's. Same thing. They're just a brother. Astrovite lowers estrogen. Astrovite. So if we see someone who's got an estrogen issue, maybe we have a female who's coming in and their doctor said, I'll help you with that dryness that you got going on down there. You're having painful intercourse. Your tissues are thin. Let's give you some estradiol. And they don't monitor it. All of a sudden, she's got these super high levels. Now she's susceptible to breast cancer. Now she's susceptible ovarian cancer, uterine cancer. Why would you do that? So Astrovite will deplete the excess estrogen out of their body and get them into a normal range. At that point, they need to have a conversation with their doctor and say two things. One, reduce my dose, or two, you need to start testing me more often. Sal palmetto is great for prostate as well. Astrovites, men and women. Argizyme is a great product also for kidney function. In this case, prostate, but it also helps with kidney. Probiotics, everybody that does our program will see the middle box at some point. That's usually the last probiotic we use. And then the ProBiomax Daily is in the detox kit. They're both really good products. I feel like they're the most solid products out there. We use them. If you have a probiotic that you're using that works really good for you, okay. If you're working with us, when we're done, you can go right back to it. But we want to make sure we're using the products that I know the effects they have on your body. If I don't have a Scooby-Doo, what your probiotic is, who makes it, where's it coming from, what's the quality, and you say, is it working? I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I can tell you what mine's doing. So it's important. Great products. Peptides. I'm only bringing this up because I want people to be aware there. If you don't know about peptides, they're out there. They're everywhere. It's the rage right now. They're all over the place. Everybody's peptide. So let's talk about what they are. Peptides are small chains of amino acids. Amino acids hooked together make a protein. So amino acids are the building blocks for proteins. Peptides are amino acids. So you can kind of see the link here. Peptides are protein-like messengers that tell the body to perform certain jobs like healing, repair, burning fuel, making collagen, repairing tissue, reducing appetite, calming inflammation. So they all have different jobs, but they're messengers. They're naturally produced in your body on a daily basis. Peptides are targeting signal tools that may help the body repair, regulate metabolism, and improve function. They need to be matched carefully to the person. It's not just random, oh, I'm just going to go out and buy a bunch of different ones and take them. That's not safe. We want to find stuff that's necessary. If you don't need it, you shouldn't take it. And we have to have that discussion. Your body naturally makes peptides, okay? Some act like signaling, some are hormones and repair messengers. An example, insulin is a peptide. It's a hormone. Growth hormone related factor, sex hormone. All these are related to peptides. They're all peptide in some form. GLP-1, the hottest thing on the market. Everybody's taking the shots. You've all seen them. They look like they came out of Auschwitz. Why? Because the product that these people are taking, semaglutide, tirzepatide, you're going to have of your weight loss, 40% of it's going to be muscle mass, period. We don't want to lose muscle mass. Your muscle is your organ of longevity. It's the largest metabolic organ in the body, and it dictates how long you live. Matter of fact, there's studies out there you can find that show that there's a direct correlation of longevity and quad strength. Kind of crazy. But so you don't want to lose muscle mass. So we don't recommend these to people. You have this GLP-1, instead of taking an injection, it's naturally produced in your body. We just have to ramp it up. And there's techniques that we use to do that. So we're not advocates of the semaglutide and tirzepatide. GLP-1's naturally produced in your body. Our goal is to use products to stimulate its natural production so you can get the same benefit. There's an example of one. These are off Fullscripts. You can buy them on there. This BPC 157 is amazing for tissue repair. I injured my back. It would usually be 3 or 4 months. I started taking this 2 weeks. I felt I was back to normal. Same thing with my shoulders. I was having all kinds of problems with my shoulders lifting weights. I started taking this and I'm not having those issues anymore because it accelerates tissue repair. Okay. It's great. It's probably one of the most popular products out there. This is a combination, and I take this form. I don't take the tablet. I take this. This is a liposomal sublingual form, but it's got the BPC 157, but it also has what's called TB500. They both work together to give me even greater tissue repair, reducing my inflammation and enhancing my gut health. So these are probably the most popular ones out there. I'm sure there's lots of others. You know, the fancier these guys get, the more they charge. I'm not interested in that. They're on Fullscripts. You get it off of Fullscripts. It doesn't do anything for me other than I know my clients are getting what's right for them and they're getting good product, because Fullscripts is not going to put products out there they haven't vetted. So that's another reason to use Fullscripts. This is for hair. Yeah, this is all the rage. The hair replacement industry is not happy about this because this stuff. This is liposomal. Probably the best product that's got the best reviews out there right now is you put it on your scalp, like at night before you go to bed. You squirt it on and rub it in. They're getting amazing results with it. The GHK. It supports regenerative and reparative roles such as collagen, elastin synthesis, DNA maintenance, healthy stem cells. There you go, stem cells. Everybody could use those. Inflammatory response, neurological and cardiovascular health, and hair growth. They're on Fullscripts. I'm only showing you this one. This isn't the same as the injections, but what they've done is they put a group of products together that stimulate GLP-1 production. They call it the GLP-1 amplifier. GLP-1 comes from your gut lining. This is all plant-based. Okay? Help with blood sugar, but appetite control. In this case, it's going to stimulate the natural GLP-1 production. You're not going to get the massive muscle loss by taking the injections. This won't do that. Okay? Great product as well. These are all on Fullscripts if you're interested. Here's how do you order. Everybody should know how to do this, but we want to review here. We use Fullscripts. We got started with them because during COVID, people would come into our office and say, hey, I need some magnesium. And we're like, okay. And they'd go, did you wipe it down? Right? That kind of stuff. We're like, oh my God. So we decided, we found this thing online called Fullscripts. So it's an online dispensary. and it works really well, that you go on, you order what you want, they ship it right to your house. If I recommend certain products, we put those in there in your account and it'll say doctor recommends, and those are the ones that you would pick. But you can buy anything on there you'd like. Let's say you're taking a vitamin C and I'm not recommending it, but you've been taking it. Marcy's been taking vitamin C for years and I didn't recommend it, but she's taking it. If she goes on there, goes, hey, there's my vitamin C, you can buy it off of there. Don't think you can't because I didn't authorize it. You can buy anything you want. There's tons of products. This is pretty much shows you how it works. Really straightforward. Lori, you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, hey. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to the boss. I really appreciate you guys' attention. I know it's late. I get to talking fast. This stuff's really exciting to me. I could be here till midnight. Nobody else wants that. I'm gonna go home and watch the soccer game.
Well,
I appreciate your attention, guys. Thank you so much.
thank you so
Mwah,
much.
mwah. Love
We
you guys.
appreciate it. Will you stop the share? You
I
did
will
great.
stop my sharing and look at that. There we go.
That is awesome. Thank you. I know that everyone here learned something new today. I even learned something. He's always got so much great information, and we appreciate everybody hanging out and being here. You're going to get this email tomorrow, this class, and it's going to talk about next month's class. So I'm just going to announce it right now. It is Thursday, August 13th at 4 o'clock, not at 5 o'clock. We're going to try out 4 o'clock. Nancy likes that. I hope other people do too. And this one's going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about the hidden connection between inflammation, fatigue, and anxiety. We're going to do a really great deep dive into that little triangle. So we're excited to see you there. Thank you, everybody who joined us live here tonight. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we know you're busy. Appreciate your time. Love seeing everybody's faces. Really great to see everybody. If you have any questions, you know how to reach us. I'm going to stop the recording.